In the last few videos, we learned what a supply and demand curve was, and we learned what makes up a supply and demand curve and what might shift the supply and demand curve. And so in this video, we're going to take a look at how prices impact the quantity that is bought or sold. So we're looking at this interaction between price and quantity, because we know from the last few videos that for demand that there's an inverse relationship between price and quantity. When price goes up, the quantity goes down. When the price goes down, the quantity goes up. So in these next few videos, we're going to explore this concept known as elasticity. And what elasticity is, it's a measure of reaction. All right, so it's a measure of reaction. We're going to get an actual number. We're going to coefficient of elasticity. We're going to get this value that measures how much people react. So again, to kind of reiterate this point, we can say, okay, price goes up. Our question is does the quantity go down by a little, or does quantity go down by a lot? Because that still matches with the law of demand. But we want to know by how much, or what is the reaction to a price change. Or if the price goes down, does quantity go up by a little, or does quantity go up by a lot? And these are going to have different measurements of what we call elasticity, or the elasticity of demand. So the main concept that we're going to find in this video is what is called price elasticity of demand. All right, so what we're going to use, let's use a simple example. So what we're going to have is lemonade, all right? And we have lemonade being sold for $1 per cup. All right, so each cup is being sold for $1. And we know that if lemonade is priced at $1, that there might be 50 people, right? So the quantity demanded at this price might be 50, right? And so if this lemonade seller, or for whatever reason, or the price of lemonade ends up moving up to, let's say, $2 for each cup, we know that the quantity demanded is going to fall. So if the quantity demanded falls, but let's say it falls to 45, right? So we see that the quantity demanded falls. It falls to 45. We can then kind of measure this reaction, right? So we measure it when we look at like what was the reaction in the price compared to the reaction in the quantity. So we're going to kind of write that concept down. What was the reaction in price? So we look at reaction or change in price, and then we compare that change. We compare that to the reaction or the change in the quantity. Right? So one of the ways that we do that is we take a look at what is known as the percent change. So if we look at price, what was the percent change in price? Well, from $1 to $2, right? That percent change, it was 100% change. So in order to figure out percent change, what we do is we calculate, okay, what is the new price that we have? So our new price minus our old price divided by the old price times 100 gives me percent change, right? So it was $2 minus $1 over $1. That equals 1 times 100 equals 100% change. So we had a 100% change in price, correct? A 100% change in price. But what we want to do is then compare this price change. We want to compare that 100% to the reaction, right? To how much, what was the percent change in the quantity. So using this same sort of formula that we have right here, we can figure out the percent change in quantity. So let's do that. We have a new price of 45 minus 50 divided by 50, right? So this is going to be 5 over 50, which is the same as 1 over 10, which equals 0.1 times 100 equals 10%. Technically, it would be negative 10%, right? Since this was -5 and -1, negative 0.1. So we have a negative 10% change. So this is our, I'll highlight it. This is our change in price right here. And then this is our change in quantity. Whoops, highlighter. This is our change in quantity right here. So we can kind of compare those two changes and see, well, did we have a big reaction or did we have a small reaction? Right? So this is, remember this, right, going back originally over here, this is what we were looking at. Did we have a big reaction or a small reaction? And we compare those reactions to the price changes, and that tells us whether something is elastic or not. So we're going to kind of move this off to the side, and we'll use the same numbers that we have. So what we saw is that the price change, so the price changed by 100%, and the quantity changed by 10%. All right, it's negative 10%, but 10% is what we're looking at, is how much it changed by, right? So if the price of something changed by 100%, and we had a very small reaction, only 10%, what we would call that is inelastic. Whoops, inelastic. No E there, right? This would be called inelastic. And it's inelastic because people are very insensitive to a price change. So even though the price changed by 100%, people are insensitive to that price change. They don't react a lot. So this is a very small reaction. Right? It's a small reaction to the price change. So what we want to do is we want to figure out, well, how do I get this value that we were talking about at the onset, right? And in order to do that, what we do is we take the percent change, right? So delta means change. This triangle means change in. We take the percent change in the quantity, and we divide that by the percent change in price. And this equals the value that we were talking about. It's the coefficient, or it's the elasticity of demand, ED, like that. That represents the elasticity of demand coefficient, this value of the elasticity of demand. So using this example, we would say that the percent change in quantity was negative 10%. The reaction was the price change was 100%. Remember, this is quantity, this is price. This equals negative 0.1, right? We drop the negative. So this is always done in absolute value terms. And so actually I could, let me erase this. We drop the negative because it's always negative, right? It's always negative because there's an inverse relationship between price and quantity in demand. So if this one is positive, then this one is negative. Or if this one is negative, this one is positive. So we're always going to get a negative. So we always take the absolute value of it. So we take the absolute value of this, which equals 0.1. All right, so this is our elasticity of demand coefficient. And what we do is we call that inelastic because the percent change in quantity was smaller than the percent change in price. Right? So if the percent change in quantity is smaller than the percent change in price, we get something that's inelastic. So what that means is if our elasticity of demand is less than 1, it must therefore be inelastic. Right? If it's less than 1, it must be inelastic. Let's show that one more time with a different set of numbers, right? So if we said that the price change was, let's say, 10%, right? If the percent change was 10%, positive 10%, and the quantity was, let's say, 5%, negative 5%, would this be elastic or inelastic? Well, remember, this one is smaller than that one. So we actually take 5% divided by 10%. It equals 0.5. 0.5 is less than 1, and therefore this is inelastic. Right? Again, remember, what does inelastic actually mean? It means if I have a good, lemonade, and the price of that good goes up, the quantity demanded reaction is very small. People basically keep buying it. Some stop, but not many actually stop buying it. In the next video, we'll pick up an example where we talk about something that is elastic and what that looks like.